In a long-run equilibrium, we're going to allow firms to enter and exit in that long run. And so what we have here is, let's think about why a firm would want to enter into a market and why a firm would want to exit a market. So whenever you have short-run profits, where the price is above minimum average cost, right, in a short run, once you allow firms to enter, they're going to want to come in and start new businesses in that industry and start taking away some of those economic profits. And so whenever you have economic profits, firms are going to want to enter into that market and steal some of those profits, start driving down the price and for more competition. Whenever you have short-run losses, firms are losing money, economic losses, they're going to want to exit that industry and go do something else, their next best alternative. And so as that happens, firms are going to exit, supply goes down, and prices go up. So if we want a long-run equilibrium, remember, equilibrium means everything's stable. No one wants to make any changes. And so if someone wants to enter or someone wants to exit, that's not stable. That's going to be a change, okay? And so what we need in a long-run equilibrium is that no one wants to enter or exit the industry anymore. And everything's stable. No one wants to change. And so what that means is we can't have any profits, because then people would want to enter. We can't have any losses, because people would want to exit. So that implies zero economic profits for a long-run equilibrium, okay? So that we're going to have three conditions now for a long-run equilibrium. First one, market has to clear. And so that's quantity supplied equals quantity demanded. That just means supply crosses demand in the market graph. 2, firms maximize profits. That means they're going to choose quantity such that price equals marginal cost. We had these two in the short run equilibrium, so there's nothing new here. In the long run equilibrium now, we're going to add in this third one where we need zero economic profits, right? When we have zero economic profits, no one wants to enter and no one wants to exit. Okay, so actually long-run equilibriums are going to be a lot easier than short-run equilibriums because what needs to be true for zero economic profits is price has to equal average cost. That means there's no per unit profit margin, right? They get in $5 for selling a unit, and it costs them $5 to produce it on average. So zero profits when price equals average cost. So we can take these two things here. All right, let's put them together. So we have that price on the left-hand side. So we can equate marginal cost equals average cost. All right, so we're going to look for the quantity where marginal cost equals average cost, and that's going to give us our long-run equilibrium. So actually, we're going to put in a third one there. Price has to equal both of those. And so whenever price equals marginal cost equals average cost, we know we're in a long-run equilibrium. So that's going to be a relatively easy thing to look for, because what happens to be true when the marginal cost equals average cost? Well, they're crossing. And when they're crossing, like right at a point right there, notice that's always happening at minimum average cost, right? We have this U-shaped average cost curve. Marginal cost is pulling down average cost when marginal cost is below it. Marginal cost is pulling up average cost when marginal cost is above average. And then marginal cost will go through that minimum average cost point. Right? So our long-run equilibriums will always occur where price equals minimum average cost, that lowest point there on that red average cost curve. Great, so that has to be our long-run equilibrium. And so we can set up now, we need our market price to be this. P star for our long-run equilibrium, because we need price to go through average cost and marginal cost. We can come over here, get our P star. So what we have over here on the firm graph then is we have profit maximization. So you take your price P star, come over, firms are actually producing Q star for profit maximization, condition 2. Price is equal to average cost, zero economic profits, condition 3. Let's bring over onto the market side here, our price P star. We need to clear the market, so we need our supply curve to go right through that point there. And quantity supplied equals quantity demanded in the market for our QM star at that price P star. So this is what a long-run equilibrium looks like, where no one wants to enter, no one wants to exit, and no one wants to make a quantity choice change. Okay, I'm going to go through 2 practice questions then that you might see type of a question on an exam. So here's going to be information in a table, and I'm going to ask you, can you find the long run equilibrium? And so what we have here, we have output, average variable cost, average total cost, and marginal cost. All right, the following table represents cost information for a firm in a perfectly competitive industry. Assume the firm can only produce in lots of 50 as shown in the table. If the firm is representative of all firms in the industry, what will be the long run equilibrium price in the market? So go back to those conditions that I just talked about. Try to use those conditions to figure out what quantity and what price for an individual firm will be in a long run equilibrium from this table. So pause here, take a little bit to try to figure that out, and then I'll go through the solution. Great, so our long run equilibrium, all right, we're looking for price equals average cost equals marginal cost. So what we have on this graph, we have an average cost column, we have a marginal cost column. We're looking for where those two columns are equal to each other. And so we can go through, compare these two, nope, not equal, oh, these are equal. And so we're looking at a long run equilibrium where the price is going to be equal to those two values. So our long run equilibrium, our price will be equal to $11.25. What's going to be the long run equilibrium quantity for a firm? Well, at that $11.25, profit maximization says produce 250 units of output. We can do the same type of question on a graph. Here's all this information. We got our marginal cost, our average total cost. And I want to say in a long run equilibrium, what's going to be the quantity per week and the price in that long run equilibrium if the firms look exactly like this individual firm. So again, we need to find price equals average cost equals marginal cost. That's going to happen where your marginal cost curve goes through your average cost curve. To me, that was looking like it's going to happen at $60, and we'll get a quantity of 60 units. Okay. So again, these are relatively easy compared to the short run equilibrium. Everything's happening at this point right here, where marginal cost goes through average cost. Right? If you can find that point, you're golden here on finding these long run equilibriums in either a table form or a graph form.